Okay, as you can see, I've been playing around with the walls a little bit here, and I have a peach-colored stucco on 3 of the walls, and I have wood siding on this wall. And this is my slab foundation coming down here, this gray part. So let's select this wall right here, and go over here and click on Edit Type, and then under Structure, click on Edit, and this describes the wall assembly for that wall. Starting on the exterior side of the wall, I have wood siding, 3/4 of an inch thick, and then the core or the structure of the wall is basically 2x4s, Douglas fir 2x4s, 3.5 inches thick. And then on the interior side of the wall, I have gypsum wallboard, or just drywall, which is 1/2 inch thick in this case. Drywall would normally be 1/2 inch or 5/8 inches thick. Oftentimes on exterior walls we use 2x6 framing, or even larger framing than that if we're concerned about energy efficiency. Now, this column that says wraps, what this means is that the drywall will wrap in where I have a wall penetration, where I have a window or a door, let's say, and the wall turns the corner and returns into the window or the door. It's telling Revit to wrap that material, this drywall or this wood siding, it's telling it to wrap it around the corner. If I don't check this box, there's a chance that as I look at my 3D model, I could look in there and see a crack or see the interior of the wall, which I don't want to do. And then this column here, structural material, is telling Revit that the 2x4s form the structure of the wall. So to illustrate how this works, let's change the wood siding. And let's just try a wood shake siding and see what that looks like. This window describes the materials that have been loaded into the project. So it's a somewhat limited list. There are other materials libraries. A couple of them are down here. And by clicking on wood, you can choose other options. There's another library here which has a wood category. Some of these are the same and some are different. Under the Appearance tab, there are yet more libraries over here. There's one here with many types of materials, and another one here with, again, many types of wood, siding, all sorts of different things. So you have many more options under those other libraries. So this is what the shakes will look like. Make sure you check this box which says Use Render Appearance, and then click Apply, OK, and it's changed to a wood shake. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so here's our model with wood shakes. Okay, let's try something else just to illustrate how this works. Let's go back into Edit Type, and let's change the entire structure of the wall. I'll get rid of the 2 finishes, and I'll focus on the structure of the wall. Instead of Douglas fir wood framing, let's use concrete and just see what that ends up looking like. So here's what the appearance will be. Under Graphics tab, Make sure you check Use Render Appearance. Click OK. And let's change the thickness to, let's say, 6 inches. Click OK. What that has done is change the entire wall to a site cast concrete wall. Okay, so that just shows you another example. Let's change that back by using the back arrow. So now we're back where we started. Now let's take a look at the other 3 walls. We'll just click on the front wall like that. Edit Type. Okay, so this wall consists, starting on the exterior side, of 7/8 inch stucco, and then wood framing, Douglas fir 2x4s, basically 3.5 inches thick for the structure or the core. Then 1/2 inch drywall on the interior, and then wallpaper. So let's choose the stucco, and let's change the color. Click on the color, and let's just try something here. You can use this slider to shade it or tint it. So let's go with something like that. Use the Add button to save that color so you can use it later. Click OK. So that's changed. Now go to the Graphics window. Click on Use Render Appearance, and that will change. Surface pattern and cut pattern have to do with non-rendered views. They do not need to be colored. So I'm just going to make them white. So the appearance will be this color under the rendered views, which are realistic and ray trace. And the other views will use the same color. So click Apply and then OK. Back your way out of those windows. And it has changed the color of all 3 stucco walls to the green. But it has not changed this wall because that is a different wall type. Whereas these stucco walls are all the same type, stucco over wood studs. Click on that one, it's the same type. And the same with the back wall. Now let's go back again using the back arrow. Now we're back to the peach color. Let's say I wanted a different siding or a different wall assembly altogether just on the front wall. I select the front wall, I go to Edit Type, and I go to Duplicate. And now I give that wall a different name. Let's just call it Front Wall. Click OK. And now I can change the properties of just that one wall. So let's say instead of stucco, I want to use plywood or something on the outside of that wall. Okay, go up to this drop-down box, select the category wood, and just as an example, let's use plywood. You wouldn't want to use plywood sheathing as your final exterior wall surface. But just to demonstrate, let's click OK. Let's use 3/4 of an inch thick. You can type 3/4 or 0.75, whichever's quicker. Click OK. And now just the front wall is plywood sheathing. I haven't changed the east wall, it's still wood siding. And I haven't affected the other two walls, they are still peach stucco. So that demonstrates yet another method of changing the wall materials. And let's change that back to the peach stucco. And now when I click on that, it just says basic wall stucco over wood studs. O / means over. So stucco over wood studs. And that's the same wall type again as the other two walls. Okay, now I want to show you how to add color to the interior walls. There are a couple ways of doing this. I could select an interior wall, go to Edit Type, and actually edit this gypsum wallboard. And I could go to Appearance and just literally change the color of the drywall like that. I would have to remove this image first, but if I clicked on graphics, it would follow through in the graphics view, and I could back out of these windows, and it would change the drywall color on all the walls that had a drywall finish to that green. So that's one way to do it. Somewhat cumbersome. There is a quicker way, and that's by using the paint tool. So let's back out of that. So to use the paint tool, go to the Manage tab here, and then Materials, and under the Project Materials, select the Paint category, and Revit gives me one color called Parking Stripe. Since I'm going to want additional colors, the easiest way is to right-click, click on Duplicate, and let's just set up a couple additional colors here. Let's see, in the bedroom I've got a yellowish sort of carpeting. So let's make one of these yellow. Yeah, flat is fine. Application brush. We don't want this linked to the other color called Parking Stripe. This number 1 indicates that it's linked to the other color. So we want to hit this little button over here so that they're independent colors. Alright, use Render Appearance. Make sure the identity makes sense. Yes, it's under the paint class, which is what we want. Click Apply, and let's do that again, and just for lack of a better name right now, we'll call that Paint 3. See if we can use maybe a pale green color. And maybe we want a semi-gloss with that. And maybe a roller, so you can play with these as well. We don't want that linked to the other colors. So go over here and click this little button. Okay, Graphics, Identity, Paint 3, Category Paint. So that all looks good. Apply. Then click OK. And now to use the Paint tool, switch over to the Modify tab. The Paint tool is located right here. And paint 2 was our yellow paint, if I remember correctly. So I just click on the interior of those 2 walls. And now I have yellow on those 2 walls. I haven't changed the other 2 walls. They're still drywall. And now let's use the paint tool again. And we'll put paint 3, which was the green paint, on that wall and that wall. Click on Done. And that's really the quickest way to add color, paint, or other surfaces to your interior walls. Now, just to demonstrate, we could also paint using almost any material. We could apply stone to that wall. Not that we would want to do that, but that just shows you how that's done. Let's click the back arrow on that one. And finally, let's use the paint tool to apply a different exterior finish on the front wall. Let's just use a common brick, let's say. Select the front wall. And it doesn't change the wall structure. It just applies a brick appearance to the wall. So if we look at the actual structure of that front wall, it's still listed as stucco. It hasn't changed the actual material, it's just applied a brick appearance to it. Okay, now the question will come up, how do I add paint to just this bedroom wall without selecting the entire wall that goes into the kitchen? And the answer is I use what's called the split face tool. And that will allow me to split this wall into sections. So let's go to the basic floor plan here. And I'm looking at this wall right here. So I want to click on this section view. In case you don't know how to create a section view, let me show you real quick. Click on the View tab, Section, and just go like that. And that'll give me a sectional view, basically looking that direction. So double click here. Let's put this in realistic view. And we're talking about this back wall of the bedroom right there. And right now it has wallpaper on it. So I'm just going to add paint to the top of the wallpaper. Probably the correct way would be to go in to the wall assembly and remove that wallpaper first. On the Modify tab, there is a tool called Split Face. And I can select the whole wall, like I just did there. The drawing tools come up. This particular tool, the rectangle tool, is probably the easiest one to use for this. And I want to select the corner right there. And using the Shift key on my keyboard and my right mouse button, I can scroll down to the lower right corner and click again right there. Click this green check. And now, and click Modify. And now I can select my paint tool again, paint 2, which was the yellowish paint. And now I can select just that wall like that. Let's go back to our 3D view, and you can see I've added paint just to that half of the back wall. And to demonstrate this again, let's say I want to add paint just to the kitchen half of this wall. Let's go to the floor plan view. Let's draw a new section going that direction. Double click here. And now I'm looking at the kitchen wall. Let's put it on realistic view. And I just want to add paint right out to the end of this countertop, this peninsula countertop. Go to Modify, Split Face, select the wall. The drawing tools come up. Select the rectangle. Let's start in this corner this time. Get it right in the corner. And we'll come out right to the end of that countertop and tie it into the floor. So right there. Click the green check and an error message comes up. Click cancel on that, and all it's saying is we need to delete those two edges of our rectangle. Click the green check, modify. Now go to the paint tool, select paint 3, and click on that portion of the wall. And now let's go back to our 3D view. And we've painted this half of the wall. Basically, we've painted on top of that wallpaper. Again, technically, you would probably want to go into that wall assembly and remove the wallpaper first. But that's how to use the split command together with the paint tool to add paint and colors and different textures to your walls.